Good morning, welcome to another devotional. Today we're in 1 John chapter 5 and we're reading verse 16 and 17. If anyone sees his brother sinning a sin which does not lead to death, he will ask and he will give him life for those who commit sin not leading to death. There is sin leading to death. I do not say that he should pray about that. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is sin not leading to death. And today we're dealing with what is undoubtedly one of the most controversial passages in the whole of Scripture. And there have been varying attempts to interpret. But I want us to think about it in the light of what we've looked at recently, where John was talking about the confidence that we can have in prayer, knowing that whatever we ask according to his will, that he hears us. And so that was speaking, I guess, about the prayer of petition, the petitions that we bring before God. When they're according to his will, we can be assured that he will answer us. But of course, it's always according to his will. And it seems here that he's reminding us that although we may have that confidence, not to forget to intercede for others who are in sin, who are committing sin. And so we move from the prayer of petition to the prayer of intercession. We should be interceding if we see a brother, and please note the term brother that he uses, which it seems to imply that it is a believer, a fellow believer. So we're talking about if we see a brother or sister sinning a sin which does not lead to death, he will ask, he'll intercede, and he will give him life for those who commit sin not leading to death. So he says, we shall be interceding for those that we see in sin, but sin's not leading to death. And this is where the confusion comes in. Because he goes on to say there is sin leading to death. And I do not say that he should pray about that. And again, this is a huge subject that we do not have the time to deal with in detail today. But what I believe that he is saying, and again, this is my understanding. And so I suggest to you today that he's referring to those who have committed the sin of apostasy. Those who have known the truth and those who have willingly turned away from the truth and walked away, unrepentant, stubborn, really spitting on Christ, crucifying him, again, as Hebrews chapter 6 says. I think that it's talking about that, and I think there's a good chance that these false teachers that were teaching had once experienced the truth and yet fallen away, and now they were leading others into that same sin. We call it the sin of apostasy. And it seems to me, in my understanding, especially reading alongside Hebrews chapter 6, Hebrews chapter 10 and chapter 12, that apostasy is the one sin that can lead Christians into eternal damnation. And again, I know that is a highly controversial subject, but that is my understanding. And I encourage you to go away and to read other commentaries and to dig deep to see if you arrive at that same conclusion. So he says, there is sin leading to death. I do not say that he should pray about that. So it's almost as if he would be saying, if my understanding is correct, don't be praying for these false teachers. They're liars. You know, they've apostatized against God. And now, I guess in a sense, they're also blaspheming Christ with the message that they're bringing about him. Verse 17, all unrighteousness is sin, and there is sin not leading to death. Of course, as he says, all unrighteousness is sin. And there are sins that will not lead to eternal damnation, eternal separation from God. And I think these are the sins that Christians commit. Obviously, the sin of apostasy would be the sin that leads to death. But all other sins, I believe there is forgiveness. I believe there is restoration. I believe these are sins that all Christians struggle with day in and day out, and that we always, of course, need to come before the Lord confess them, receive our forgiveness and our cleansing and our washing. And so I'm going to leave you to get your head around that today. Again, very controversial. So all the best with that. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.